Okay. All right. I got briefly distracted while giving people time to show up, as this is the other half of Mission Critical. All right. I should also make sure this is all ready to go. Shit. That was just slightly annoying. That was going off in my ear. I did not appreciate that. Okay. uh, I have had dinner. Good on there. Might stop for a snack because I have Girl Scout cookies and there's no getting away from those. I actually have to be careful. I don't want to eat the whole freaking box in one sitting. Well, I did run into an irritating thing. I have an Instapot, and so for St. Patrick's Day on Tuesday, I made a corned beef and I slow cooked it over about 8 hours or so. And that one, the Instapot just did work fine. For some reason, though, today when I set it this morning, as I had two, and the story behind that is I wasn't sure if the place I was going to have one, so I stopped in essentially in two stores. I went, oh, okay, they have it, so I got it. And then I went to my regular store and went, oh, I also have it, but it's about the same price. All right, fine, I'll have two. Just I literally make one, turn it into sandwiches, or throw it in a soup or something. You can do a lot with corned beef. So, anyways, set it for a slow cook, and my Instapot spent about 4 hours um preheating on a low slow cooker setting. It should not have taken that long. I tried resetting it, still didn't work. I pulled it into a high slow cooker temperature, still spent the whole time preheating. Finally, I took it on a low pressure cook and set it for half an hour, and that freaking don't ask me why or how. Hey, and I think I recall that happening once previously as well, where it's just like I said it and just spent the entire time. I think I did that once with an 8 hour. It was like it spent the entire time preheating. I didn't understand why. 8 hours of preheat, and it never finished. So I don't know what was going on. I do ended up finishing that dish on a pressure cook for 20, 30 minutes. But anyways, all complaints aside about that, it actually turned out just fine. Nice and tender without, you know, it wasn't falling apart, which is what I would have liked, but I guess I can't have everything with that kind of. But just cut some off and turned it into a sandwich and uh, and cleared my sinuses out with some good radish sauce. All right. So I did, as I mentioned yesterday, spend some time uh, looking at some videos that kind of talked about how to do this whole streaming thing better. And so I just started taking a look at some things, and yeah, I'm noticing this. It's just that Twitch in itself does not have great discoverability. YouTube on its own does not have great discoverability. You do have to work its content algorithm. Um, Apparently, I have been getting a number of impressions on YouTube's end because they actually track that kind of thing. Twitch seems to be not so great. They'll show click throughs. They'll show like when someone actually goes to your stream and watches, but they don't really show like has someone actually you know looked at looked at it, right? Uh, but then again, they're very very different websites and how they set up. And then, by the way, YouTube does not, as I confirmed on that, YouTube does not track if, for example, I have an embedded link in my social media, which I should probably do that really quick. Uh, because it doesn't have any way to track when someone actually looks at it, and sees it. Whereas they can track it on their front, track it on YouTube on their front page. Oh, let's see. Maybe I should spell mission critical correctly. It's mission critical. No, it's not. Dun, dun, dun. Spell philosophical correctly, right? Gee. All right. Grab that link. Grab. Yeah. What? No. It's kind of weird. That's weird. Interesting. Hold on. Just save the draft. Oh. This way. No, go this way. Grab this like it's interesting actually because as I'm doing this right, just doing a quick social media thing. The way Twitch does their links versus how say Blue Sky does their links, which pulls it into a shortened version, like a dot like co, but a link shortener. Whereas Blue Sky just doesn't. Let's see. Post. Go. All right. those things have been posted. Yes, I'm doing something I should have done a few minutes ago. I was nomming on things. Why does this thing keep saying current bit rate is lower than the recommended bit? Is it just because I have brief moments of silence? Is that why it keeps complaining at me? It's because I don't have, that's probably why. It's because if you're watching on Twitch, I have some music running. If you're watching on YouTube, I don't have music running. How on earth am I getting that? So, this gets into one of the technical aspects of Twitch versus YouTube. So, technically, when I'm streaming to Twitch, I am actually streaming two streams, actually. There is one that you see right now, one that is live streamed going to you guys to view. And then there is a secondary one that goes for Twitch to record. That one has the music you're hearing cut out of it. YouTube doesn't have that kind of setup. So in order for me to do what I've done is because as a multi-streaming, in order for me to be able to stream out this without, setting off content, you know, content filter issues, actually have YouTube hook into audio track 2, which has the music not included. Because audio track 2 is what Twitch is using for recording the videos. So on occasion, YouTube complains and goes, "Oh my God, like, we can't hear anything." On the other hand, I hit the volume thing so I can actually listen to my YouTube end of it. And, well, actually, if I unmute that and mute there, does it count as a viewer? Do I get to count as my own viewer? Show me. No, no, that would be cheating system too. But anyway, I'm sure at some point I might have my own background soundtrack, but it is not on this day, and thus I get. Okay. Well, I think I've probably enough time for this. Reach over and check out the DOS box. Does it show? Where are you? Ah, excellent. Move you just a bit over. Or center it. Okay. Now, disable that. Now it's time to press any key to continue. Usually use Sound Blaster. Alright, sound check. Making sure that I'm able to.
Lexington now entering low orbit.
Game volume, just
altitude 400 kilometers. Initiating OMS burn to stabilize orbit. ADIs are calibrated for 320 kilometers. Roger that. Jericho is 5,000 meters behind Lexington. Looks like a textbook approach so far.
There we go. Okay. suppose I should try some a bit more. Just a bit.
What have you got, Tran?
Right.
Surface scanners have picked up a
That
hard
looks a bit
echo from
better.
a point 80 kilometers north of the Rift Valley in Sector 4.
Is it Pandora?
Jericho thinks so. They started the countdown for the launch of the planetary lander. The crew is on board, and the lander's been prepped for launch.
What the hell is that?
Sensors are picking up a contact coming from the other side of Persephone. It's accelerating at 100 gravities. We have another contact.
Okay. I'm gonna make sure that I'm
Human battle drones.
here on my
Sound
end.
general quarters.
Okay.
Make that 4 contacts. Probable identification, United Nations Autonomous Strike Craft, Galley class. The drones will be in range of the Lexington in 110 seconds.
Communications. Give me the Jericho CO on audio. Tran, what do we have in the air?
We have 9 drones out front in a standard screen. All are now changing course to intercept. We now have multiple contacts. 10, 11. No, make that 12 incoming drones.
We need room. Take us out of orbit. Give me 1 G of acceleration on a vector 130 degrees, mark 30. Power up the railguns and pulse cannons. If any of the drones make it through our screen, begin ECM when they get within 10,000 meters.
Yes, sir. Course 130 by 30, acceleration 1G.
Captain McCain standing by, sir. Steven, what's going on?
Captain, we're under attack by UN battle drones. Abort the lander countdown and secure the ship. Close up within 1,000 meters of the Lexington. We'll cover you with our close-in combat system.
All 9 fleet defense drones are accelerating for an intercept.
Sir, telemetry is coming in from all drones.
There's Mama. Looks like a Geneva-class heavy cruiser.
First one's on the scene. Like hell. They've been waiting for us.
Let's see. Letting the opening sequence play in case anybody else wants to say goodbye.
The attacking drones have
You know,
engaged and
good
destroyed my
time.
fleet defense units. There are 5 surviving UN drones. All are now decelerating and will be in range within 15,
Captain McCain is
14,
requesting instructions,
13,
sir.
12,
Order stand by.
11,
Bands, hear this.
10,
This is the
9,
bridge. Stand by
8,
for combat.
There's
7,
nothing we can do.
6, 5, 4,
Nothing.
3, 2,
Here they come.
1.
Incoming drones in our space. We've been hit. Heavy damage in engineering. The Jericho has been hit. Breach on deck 2. 3 o'clock. The backup coolant systems are coming online. Oh my god. Booster losing coolant. This one is going to melt down if we don't seal that system. The ICS is down. I repeat, we've lost the close-in combat system. All the coolant systems are down. We aren't gonna make it.
UN vessel. This is Captain Stephen Dana of the USS Lexington. I am prepared to offer complete and unconditional surrender. I wish to evacuate my crew and that of the science vessel Jericho using intership shuttles. We are to be taken aboard your vessel and treated as prisoners of war under the Geneva Convention. Please, call off the attack.
This is Commander Garrick of the UNS Dharma. Your surrender is accepted. Deactivate your weapon systems and power down. You have 20 minutes to abandon ship. Garrick out.
Understood. Lexington out. Clear the bridge and prepare to abandon ship. Tran, stay here with me.
Sir, what the hell are you doing? We surrendered? Are you out of your mind? We can't surrender. That's not even an option during a normal TAC-op. I should relieve you of command. We can still take out the Jericho ourselves with a ship-to-ship missile and then put the Lexington on self-destruct. We can't let those UN bastards get their hands on anything or anybody that will give away this mission.
They won't, Tran.
Oh, the hell they won't. You're just about handing it to them. I mean, you even want to evacuate the crew. I can't believe this. Why did we even bother fighting back?
If you're finished, Commander, I don't have any intention of turning the Lexington or the Jericho over to Garrick.
Sir?
There's very little time. You are to take Randall down to the weapons bay and pull a 500 kiloton nuclear warhead off of a ship-to-ship missile. Now use the TAC console to arm the thing. Set the warhead to detonate based on proximity, and cancel out the mass of the Lexington and the intership shuttle. Now stow the damn thing in a compartment on the shuttle. When that's done, go and complete your final log entry and return to the shuttle bay. Do you understand me now, Tran? I'm going to sound the call to abandon ship. The crews of the Lexington and Jericho will use intership shuttles to transfer over to the Dharma.
The bomb will go off when the shuttle is pulled into the Dharma's docking bay.
And vaporize Garrick and that goddamn ship.
Everybody in both crews will be dead.
All but one. When the Dharma runs a scan of the two shuttles, most everybody has to be accounted for. I think we can get away with one missing body. I intend
Just
to
one?
leave one person on board the Lexington, unconscious. It will be up to him to complete the mission. We're all dead anyway. At least we're gonna go together, Tran.
I understand, Captain.
Very well. I'll meet you in the shuttle bay in 15 minutes.
Aye, aye, sir.
Tran has taken care of loading the thermonuclear warhead on the shuttle. I've given the order to abandon ship. The crewman I've selected is unconscious on deck 2. God willing, he'll
He
be
moved
able
quick.
to patch this ship together, transfer the planetary lander from the Jericho, and finish this mission.
Abandoned ship. Abandoned ship. All hands report to the shuttle bay for evacuation.
Computer. In Captain's log entry. Open AV data store Melissa 4. Record personal message. Audio only. Encryption Delta. To be decoded only on access by Melissa Dana.
If you are watching the VOD, you could probably skip by about a couple minutes or so.
The war took your mother soon after you were born. Now the war has taken me. I'm truly sorry that you must grow up with holograms as your only real memories of us. You're so beautiful, Melissa. Just like your mother. Please, try not to be bitter. One of the reasons that we're gone is so that you'll have a chance to live in the only way we believe is right. Keep us with you always. I love you. Computer. End message.
Abandoned ship. Abandoned ship. All hands report to the shuttle bay for evacuation.
And there it goes.
Lexington shuttle to Dharma. We are now leaving the Lexington.
Dharma to Lexington shuttle. We detect one human life sign aboard the Lexington. Explain or be destroyed.
Lexington shuttle here. Your deadline gave us no time to search the ship for casualties. Subject may be unconscious.
Unfortunate. Do not attempt to turn back. Your approach to the Dharma is cleared. Garrick out.
Babu. Okay. Yes, since it knows that we have a save file. Okay. So let's do a talk. At this moment, here's kind of where it's been. If you want to watch all this stuff happen, I have another stream of this record. You can actually view it here on Twitch, or you can go to my YouTube channel, which is linked in the About page on Twitch. In my About page, and go watch it over there. Adventure over there is you can leave me a commentary on what you think on how things were. So, we repaired the battle damage to the ship, kept it from exploding, discovered the traitor on board, You'll see that when you get to the and I've gotten down on the surface. And I'm trapped here on the surface. Because they didn't quite anticipate the I guess the extremely hostile weather and the damage it would do to the planetary lander on the way down. Let's look at this. A pyramidal depression is carved into the rock on the cavern floor. The cavern is lined with bands of rock and blue crystal. The road that you're currently standing on is actually an elevated surface. You're surrounded by a moat of what looks like a solid, glassy-looking substance. We're on this place on this planet because they discovered what appeared to be an alien structure built on this planet. So that's where we are right now, in the alien structure. Let's see. Now inside the pyramidal depression has smooth walls that gently slope up to the cavern above. In the middle is a platform of some kind. An octagonal block of an ochre-colored substance. Well, upon close examination, see that the ochre material is a combination of different elements in a crystalline matrix. I want to analyze this thing. What do I get? Paper scientific. What is it to show me? Ooh. A mix of complex molecules and a regular structure, almost like an inert storage matrix. Dig it. It's anchored to the platform. Dug hard on the block and it's held in place by a force generated by the platform. Okay, so I can't do anything with that. Bear in mind, this is like, I think this is something like 1 point something, 2 point something gravity. Slot? Oh my god, is that a phone cable slot or Ethernet? Ugh. This is what it looks like. Oh, it's square. It's the drawing just a bit off. This is a triangular crystal prism that seems to shimmer and scintillate with yellow light. Upon closer examination, see the shimmering effect is caused by a complex internal crystalline structure. Oh no. Crystal. Fascinating. This material has a hugely complex molecular structure, almost like a form of DNA. Nope, it's anchored too. I can't run off. Let's see. So we've got two things I can't run with right now. Let's see. Okay, well. Take a look. Basin, yes, it clearly seems to be a whole drain. There's a cylinder, triangular slot. Yes, it's a triangular slot. And the body of the rods or the pins are square. Can I take that? Ooh. Let's take that one. Let's see. I can't do anything there, but I can. Go back this way. Because there was one of those that had a key slot in it, so to speak. So let's go down. You gently insert the glowing yellow crystal rod to the slot in the platform. There was a low popping sound, as if a field of some kind has been broken. Yoink! You lift the prism off the platform and meet no resistance at all. Yellow key must have broken a bond of some kind between the prism and the platform. Perhaps the key held an electric charge, neutralized the bond. I hadn't gone the other way. Secondary, smaller caverns, rock and crystal walls, pyramidal depression, demands your attention. Look, blue prism. A blue crystal cubes seem to shimmer and scintillate with blue light. Yes, an eternal crystalline structure. Let's take a look at this one. Ooh. Almost like a form of DNA again. In case I wanted to haul myself back over that way. Make it? Nope. Up the platform, which doesn't do anything at the moment. And down we go. And now we continue on through here. Right. Yellow prism. Blue prism. The prism fits perfectly into the square slot. Both prisms are in place. You watch them patiently, expecting to melt into the tube, cylinder, basin, but nothing happens. Prisms so obviously belong here, but there must be another step required in order to get them to do whatever they're supposed to do. Mind occurred to me is, what if I took a torch to it? Uh-huh. Now notice I can't hear the cutting torch in this either. The liquids from the melted prisms have combined to form a strange glowing green fluid. As the bottom of the basin is covered with the new substance, you notice a flicker out of the corner of your eye. You quickly turn your head and you see a barely discernible flash of light race up the sides of the pyramid depression. The phenomenon is echoed by the crystal in the walls of the cavern around you, a flash of light so quick that you almost miss it, perhaps an indication of a state change in the materials around you. It might well affect the entire installation. Intrigued, you turn on the scanner and hold it over the mysterious green fluid. It is combining together. What has it become? The green fluid is composed of molecule-sized blobs. These blobs are active, moving, they almost seem to be alive. Blue and yellow prisms must have held the chemical components for these blobs in stasis. When the components combined, the result was the creation of these tiny nanomachines. You put the metal fragments into the basin, nothing much happens, so you treat them. Okay. The part. Okay, it extinguishes itself. Oh, good. I forgot to turn it off. Didn't waste that. I take this down. Yoink. You take the ochre block from the platform. There's no resistance at all. The force that held the block on the platform seems to have been completely nullified. Alright, so we're gonna keep going then. Clearly, we're gonna dump this all in the basin. Who knows what it'll do? Science. When you drop the ochre block into the seething green fluid, it begins to melt. look, melty. I'm gonna take the scanner to it then. What's it doing? Oh. The first generation nanomachines are using the raw material in the ochre block to build millions of larger, more complex micro machines. Like little ants running around. Basin is seething with tiny ant-like micro machines. They are frantically scurrying around the basin if urgently looking for something. Perhaps they need the raw material for the next generation of machine. Look, I have fragments. And drop the metal fragments into the viscous fluid. Yes, the viscous fluid inside the basin. The reaction is immediate and furious. Intrigued, you turn on your scanner and take a look. Once you figure out that the micro machines in the basin are short on raw material, you make several trips back to the wrecked lander to scavenge additional pieces of the hull and ship systems. As you put each load into the basin, the metal melts away as it is disassembled by the microbots and used for some mysterious construction task. Eventually, you see the outlines of them beginning to form in the basin. After a number of trips, you start running out of easy pickings and resort to ripping cabinet doors out of the cargo compartment. By then, the basin is dominated by the gleaming metal skeleton of a large, insect-like robot. The microbots are nearly done with the first of what seems to be the next generation of machines. When the new robot is nearly finished, the micro machines in the basin begin to cannibalize each other for the final phase of construction. They have all but disappeared when the final product, a robot that looks like a giant metallic grasshopper, is complete. The new machine comes to life with a crackling hum, blue light radiating from the inside. Its first action is to burrow into the material of the basin and disappear. Several hours pass. You maintain a vigil on the basin, making trips out to the lander only to replace your suit oxygen tanks. When your oxygen reserves are nearly depleted and you're about to give up hope, you sense a vibration in the floor of the depression. A few minutes later, the construction robot trundles out of the pit it dug, climbs up the slope of the depression. A few seconds later, another robot, just like it, emerges from the pit and trundles up the slope and out through the tunnel entrance. A third follows, and then a fourth and a fifth. You realize that the first robot spent these endless hours replicating itself from an ore deposit under the cavern floor. The intention of the builders must have been to have the micro machines in the basin use the ore under the cavern to build the largest of the construction robots. Perhaps the composition of the slate material in the basin changed over time and prevented the tiny machines from tumbling their way down. In any case, a seemingly endless stream of robots now marches to and from it. Looks like there's a beat in there. Doing something. Building something. Builders of this installation knew that no complex machine could survive the ravages of time. They coded the designs and plans for the installation of the machines inside a form of chemical DNA. This DNA had the advantage of being stable over time and redundant. There must have been millions of individual molecules in the prisms used to kick off the activation sequence. Upon activation, the chemical components combined to create nanomachines. These nanomachines built micromachines, built the large construction robot. The robots brought the installation to life, After a little bit of exploration, you know that all the secondary caverns are now filled with marvelous and mysterious machines, their secrets waiting to be unraveled. These secrets will have to wait for those that follow you. You're running out of time. Your attention is focused on one machine in particular, the centerpiece of the installation. You want to build something that looks suspiciously like a portal of some kind in the middle of the largest cavern. It might be a gateway, a transportation device intended to convey the discoveries of the installation to its builders. You pray for deliverance. You run down one of the bridges towards the platform, towards the beams of hard blue light. The portal seems to draw you in, to welcome you. As you get closer, the light gets brighter. Finally, you run up the steps chiseled into the platform and step into the light. Wormhole. You're free of the confines of the wormhole. Oh. Someone didn't maintain that wormhole very well. Your journey ends in a searing, brilliant white flash. You materialize back in the physical world within a cone of perfect vacuum. Air rushes in to fill the vacuum with a pop, at the same time that you are dropped on your head. You appeared out of nowhere at a point 2 meters off the ground. Stunned, you try and get your bearings. You are most definitely not on Persephone anymore. You're in some kind of structure surrounded by wreckage. You can see burning orange and red clouds roiling by outside an open door. Slowly you get to your feet. Closing your eyes and taking a last breath of stale suit air, you crack the seals on your helmet. You hold your breath as long as you can, then let it out. When you breathe back in, you almost choke in the foul air. The good news is it's just a bad smell. The air actually seems to be breathable. What are the odds that the builders come from an Earth-type world? 1,000,000 to 1? For a lucky, tiny moment, you feel incredibly lucky. Then again, you may be stuck on an alien world light years from Earth. Your brain decaying, hype, unable to complete the mission because you have no way of getting information back home. Door doesn't budge. The wreck. Look at Mangled Door. Mangled Door blocks the entrance to the only intact area of the wrecked dome. Guts of the building you were in, were ripped out by what must have been a hell of a shockwave. Remains of the structure were dropped in a pile not far away from where you're standing. Pieces of shredded metal jut out of the rubble. You surmise they're part of the reinforced thermocrete construction of the structures all around you. I have metal. I have a door. Let's make ourselves a crowbar. I missed that. It was nearly out of a 7 units. But I managed to get some rebar. Open the mangled door. You wedge the makeshift pry bar into the space between the door and the frame, pull as hard as you can. The door bends back enough to allow you to slip by. As you enter the room, you notice a bent but colorful piece of metal on the floor. It must have fallen off the wall. You reach down and pick it up. Los Angeles. The maglev line. San Francisco, Los Angeles. So this is Earth. But it can't be. The wreckage, the blasted buildings. You suspected that these were not artifacts of the same race that built the installation of Persephone. What happened? Did your voyage through the gateway create some relativistic effect? Is this Earth in the future? Why did the gateway send you here? Did the builders invade Earth while you were traveling? You feel panic and despair bubbling up inside of you. This room seems to be relatively intact, not too much of a surprise because this area is built like a bunker. A panel with 2 switches dominates one wall. Your attention is also drawn to a curious pile of large flat discs. Cargo repulsor area. Large flat metal disc. It's red and green laser currently known. What if I take one? Can I take one? You drag one of the discs out of the pile. It is surprisingly large and heavy. A spring-loaded switch identified as the manual induction override. The switch is extended, which may imply that you have overridden automatic control of the induction. Well, I haven't extended anything. If I pull it. You pull the induction switch, which actually seemed more like a lever, until it's reached its fully extended position between the 2 metal tines. When the power grid on, you snap the breaker switch to the on position. Long, dormant systems come to life with a whine that escalates until it is deeply resonant humming sound. You seem to have restored power to the maglev system, and that humming noise seems to be very, very loud in comparison to something. Let's pull this down a bit. There we go. Okay. Well, this is an override, but there's nothing going to hold it down, is there? What if I do this? Right? You place the spool over a switch, locking it into position. Wrecked build. Holy moly. Well, maybe we should save and go Earth? Question mark. You wander out of the wrecked structure through which you have entered this awful place, and stop when you reach a track of some kind. It leads from the heart of the vast dead city of apparently Los Angeles out into the desolate wasteland. The city was obviously the scene of a terrible battle. The hulks of tanks, armored personnel carriers, and aircraft are littered around the blasted ruins of buildings. Intermingled with familiar warcraft are the wrecks of strange machines. Standing near a blast or a track which runs from the ruined skyline of a blasted city out into the vast wasteland. The track consists of a shiny metal rail, housing, and a concrete roadbed. Skeletons. Must be the skeletons of the soldiers who fought in the last battle, or perhaps they are civilian casualties. The robot things you see strewn about were the attackers, then any human being may have been the enemy. Angular pylons are mounted over the tracks at regular intervals. You surmise that the series of pylons has something to do with the workings of the transportation system that uses the rails. A structural element from a blasted building protrudes from the rubble. You can't even tell what went around the fuse lump. The building itself is gone. All that's left of this structure is a blasted shell. This appears to be a superconducting metal and ceramic rail from a maglev transportation system. Maglev systems were being deployed throughout North America before the war. This looks like an advanced version of that new system you saw back home. Can I turn around? Oh. This used robot, the hulk of a bizarre machine, a rounded, smooth, organic-looking robot of some kind. A cluster of articulated limbs emerges from a trunk that sits on a tracked base. The limbs appeared to end in an assortment of weapons. There was a land-based equivalent of a high-end battle drone. This would be it. Rubble is everywhere you look. The ground is covered with piles of debris and wreckage. Twisted metal sprouts from the stumps of reinforced structural supports. Everywhere you look, you see evidence of terrible destruction. You recognize the turret and gun of the main battle tank. Oh, okay. Back inside. This may be Earth, but that tower in the distance is most definitely not native to the landscape. It is distinctly alien in appearance. Can I put the disc on the rail? You place the metal disc on the rail. It floats gently above the rail, repelled by the strong magnetic fields being generated by the magnet system. Sit on it. You hop on the disc before it starts moving. The disc is as steady as a rock. You might as well be sitting on the ground. You grip the edges of the disc tightly and wait. Eventually, the induction starts pulling the disc forward. That's funny. I thought I was going in the other direction. It glides down the track, picking up speed very smoothly and gradually. Before you know it, the ground is whipping under you at a frightening rate, and the top wind is threatening to blow you off the top of the disc. The disc accelerates until it is going well over 300 kilometers per hour. The only way you can stay on board is to lock the joints of your suit so that it hugs the disc. It is a very unpleasant. You scream along the rail for quite some time, probably quite literally. The black tower on the horizon getting closer and closer until it fills the sky. It must be 10 kilometers high. Finally, the disc begins slowing down. It's slowing down a lot quicker than it sped up, and the reason is soon apparent. The maglev rail ends abruptly about 1,000 meters in front of a black wall. The wall apparently guards the entrance to the huge tower, now a sheer black wall rising overhead. When the disc stops moving, you walk over the wall. You'd probably be a little unsteady about your feet. Collection of debris blasted off the wrecks of both tanks and robotic battle units. This would appear to be a lighter, less armored variant of the robotic battle units you've seen so far. Life's like Hulk of another robotic battle units. The wall seems to continue forever, curving only slightly to surround the vast bulk of the black tower. The base of the tower is littered with war wreckage. You climb partway into the crater in the wall. The tank cut pretty far into the wall before it was hit. But how much further it needed to go before punching through to the other side? But it melts through. A mammoth tank sits next to the wall. You've never seen an armored vehicle this size before. It is a metal behemoth. It is also the most intact of all the fighting vehicles that lie broken at the foot of the wall. You laboriously climb up the side of the tank until you're perched on the top of the turret. UN. Look at that. Can I open it? You inspect the opening mechanism for a few minutes and then try to turn what looks like the appropriate wheel on the hatch. It resists fiercely. Eventually you manage to force it around once, straining with the effort. It takes 7 more revolutions and a few moments of backbreaking work, but finally you manage to open the hatch. Inside of the tank is actually claustrophobic, a surprise considering the enormous bulk of the vehicle. There are seats for a gunner and a driver, each in separate little compartments surrounded by a myriad of controls and screens. The skeletons of the crew are moldering where they were killed, apparently by a radiation weapon of some kind. There is no visible blast or fire damage, only the mostly intact remains of the driver and gunner. No, we're gonna leave his skull right where it is. Dark screens sit over dusty controls. Okay, you don't need to tell me that it was his ribcage. Come on. The red breaker switch is prominently mounted on one of the consoles. You push on the heavy red breaker switch and it gives way with a loud snap. Power flows from the tank's reserve batteries to the onboard systems, causing some of them to short out in a shower of sparks. Still, enough of the systems are working so that the multifunction displays around the driver's console come to life. Oh man, that sound. System breakers must have been tripped by the blast that killed the crew. Enough of the core electronics are preserved to allow a restart. The multifunction displays have come alive with green, yellow, and red characters. Most of the data on the screens is telling you that the majority of the tank systems are in deep trouble. And the tank's drive system appears to be down. The tank is immobile. It isn't going anywhere anytime soon. Crew spaces in the tank are confined on one side by banks of consoles and screens, and the other side by massive pieces of equipment hidden behind metal housings. Most of the screens are displaying information about the tank's combat systems. The capacitors for the tank's particle beam cannon are at full charge. The tank's nuclear power plant has been charging up for 4,041 days. 12 years? Not quite, no. 11? A bit over 11, I think. One of the screens in the upper right has a graphic image of some kind. The screen has a targeting reticle centered over the image of the wall outside. The graphical image on the screen is the interface for the tank's targeting system. The main gun is locked on the crater in the wall outside. All you have to do is hit the fire button. The batteries and capacitors discharge at the maximum possible rate short of an uncontrolled explosion. A huge particle beam cannon comes to life. The capacitors for the gun are completely discharged when you blast through the wall at maximum power. Besides, you burned enough holes in the walls for today. Let me turn this off. You've already restored power to the tank. What if I want to turn it off because it stopped this infernal noise? Oh god, that lessens the noise. Good. Okay. Now that that ongoing noise is down, there we go. You climb further into the tunnel, bored by the powerful particle beam on the tank. The metal around you is still warm, but not as warm as you would think after being heated to thousands of degrees by a bolt of plasma. There is a blue light in front of you. It gets brighter and brighter as you get closer. Suddenly, you are falling. After a frightening drop, you land heavily on a metal surface. You regain your wits and look around you. It's falling robot. So when I was younger playing this particular music that I was playing always kind of made me feel like I was, there was a time limit, like I was being kind of chased thing, because they only pulled it out when something, big was going on. You must be inside the base of the Black Tower. This appears to be part of a worn passages built in a familiar style. You recognize the materials, the look and feel of this place. This feels the same as the installation of Persephone after the construction of what's had done there. I don't understand the musical choice in this particular segment. Like, are they trying to force you to have sort of this emergency thought kind of thing? Like, it kind of adds to the tension, but... Considering the size of this place, it's like, I have survived all of this, except you made the walk too far, and I died in the passageways, even though I had a guide. You shall find a skeleton in here. Like the Minotaur of the labyrinth. Oh, I found an exit. One of the passageways opens up on a huge vertical cylindrical cavern. Bridge hangs over the bottomless maw below you, ending in two platforms. Glowing rings hover over each platform. Rings of the door. Black Tower. That makes we're not going to find Sauron in here. Let's go that way. You feel like you're being transported again, only this time you seem to be lifted out of your body. Mind is pulled into a sensory vortex, a spinning maw filled with sight and sound. When the world reconstitutes itself, you are nowhere else. You are hanging in space in front of a large wooden door. A wooden marble pedestal hovers to your left. A golden goblet sits on the pedestal, burning keys floating just to golden key hangs in space surrounded by flames. Look at the wooden door. I suppose it's locked. It is locked. Crystal, simple golden goblet, 2/3 filled with crystal clear water. Can I take it? Okay. Oh, can I pour it on there? Can I drink it? Oh. Hey, they had the drink in the water goblet thing to undo something before Harry Potter did. Things just keep getting stranger. You just walked through the door in space, not sure what you were walking on or where you were doing, where you were going, and you wound up standing next to a stream surrounded by a lush forest. There was no trace of the door you just came through, it just disappeared. Maybe it was never there. Time and space seemed distorted. Is this inside the tower or someone fucking with me? That is gotta be the Kalma's deer. Either it's from Japan, or this is a deer that has not been raised around me. Look at. Constantly changing collection of scintillating, coruscating lights that fade in and out to create a wavy effect. Let me check my volume. I'll turn it down a little bit. So it's because how this synthesizing it tends to. Okay. I guess we'll talk to it.
Greetings. Do not be afraid. Bear with us as we explain what has happened to you and what lies ahead.
Oh, joy. I'm dead.
We are electronic life forms.
Oh.
In your day,
even
you would
better.
have called us AIs, or machine intelligences.
We brought you into our domain, which you might think of as a kind of virtual reality or cyberspace, by establishing a direct neural connection with you through the pathways
So
that
I
were created
am
in
dead
your
in the
brain
tower.
by hype.
We know who you are, where you came from, and how you got here.
We came by this knowledge in a way that violated your privacy in the most extreme and intimate way possible.
During the initial process of communication, we mapped all
So you
of
read
your
my
memories,
mind.
scanned the structure of your personality and consciousness, and learned about you by applying stimuli and watching your responses.
We apologize for this intrusion.
That does not help.
As you have probably surmised by now, you have come to Earth, a different Earth than you left behind when you started your voyage to Persephone.
You got here by traveling through a wormhole, created by the manipulation of an artificial quantum singularity.
Oh,
The artifact you
we're
discovered
getting
and
into
activated on
strange science
Persephone
fiction.
controls that singularity, acting as a gateway through time and space.
You used the gateway to travel across 150 years and millions of miles, from Persephone in 2134 to Earth in the year 2295.
Oh, time travel, fun.
Your arrival here was not an accident.
You may be able to help us bring to fruition an ancient plan, a plan that may save 2 races and 1,000 star systems.
An ancient plan, but this is the future, so how is it ancient?
There is a lot of information to cover before you really understand what is going on.
Please ask questions and pursue the threads of inquiry in a way that will allow you to most comfortably assimilate the data.
I'm done. Just computer response.
The war officially ended when
What
the
happened with
United
the war?
Nations and the Alliance signed the Washington Treaty in 2141.
They lasted 7 years. They lasted 2 years longer than they expected they would.
So the Alliance succeeded in breaking away from the UN?
No. The Washington Treaty formalized the reintegration of former Alliance states into the United Nations. The Alliance suffered a total defeat at the hands of the UN.
How bad was it?
At the time the Treaty of Washington was signed, the war had accounted for 2.6 billion dead and 500 million injured. Almost all of the casualties were civilians.
What happened after the war?
For 140 years, the United Nations was the central government authority for the human race. What was left of the Alliance nations and colonies were rebuilt soon after the war, and interstellar exploration and colonization continued on a modest scale. At its peak, the United Nations controlled 20 billion people on Earth and 20 colony worlds.
Oh.
So
Yeah,
what happened?
Yeah, what happened?
Society was essentially static and rigid. This attempt at stasis defied a fundamental force of nature. Pressure built up over time and was eventually
locked everything
released
down.
suddenly and violently. When there is no evolution, there must be revolution.
What fundamental force?
Forward progress cannot be stopped. More specifically, the trend towards increasing complexity cannot be stopped. Human civilization has almost always moved forward, progressing towards higher levels of organization and knowledge.
This is the philosophy
This
part I
forward
mentioned.
motion is driven by technology and information. This trend in human history is a social manifestation of a pattern in nature that is as old as biological life itself.
What pattern? What are you talking about?
Biological life is self-organizing and trends towards higher and higher levels of complexity. This is the real life force. You can see it working from the very beginning of life on Earth in the 4 billion year evolution from primordial algae to single-celled organisms and then finally to human beings with incredibly sophisticated brains.
What was the pressure that built up over time?
Even though the UN succeeded remarkably well for a long time at controlling something that was fundamentally chaotic, the game had to end at some point. An underground, made up of former Alliance military officers and members of academe, was created shortly after the war ended. This bizarre alignment of interests made sense given the context. The pursuit of forbidden knowledge and the eventual overthrow of
Secret
the UN.
societies.
The underground set up covert R&D labs to pursue the exact thing that the UN was most afraid of, the creation of sentient electronic life forms.
And they pulled it off, didn't they?
The first truly sentient electronic life forms were created in 2284 by a renegade group of human scientists on a colony world somewhat aptly named Prometheus Beta. The two of us here talking to you are second-generation descendants of those original life forms.
So that's an interesting thing to note, and they're actually referring themselves as life forms, and second generation. You know,
some human scientists and philosophers were aware of the truth as early as the early 21st century.
The next stage in the universal drive towards increased organization and complexity is beyond the human race.
Humans cannot evolve fast enough. Electronic life forms are the next step up.
We are unencumbered by constraints imposed by 4 billion years of evolution in Earth's biosphere.
Natural selection is a powerful tool, and it can be made to work for electronic life forms in fast forward.
The basic questions of existence are beyond human beings.
They may yield to the next generation of intelligence.
Please. Human beings cannot evolve fast enough. It's like you expect people to. You have to evolve to keep up with what? Increased organization and complexity. It's like that. So this is picking up on an very odd science fiction, sci-fi philosophy that essentially humans are only just one part of the chain, and that we will birth the next one and be replaced by it. Never mind the fact that it sort of disregards that everything that came up to that point is still part of the linkage. They refer to, like, the evolution of cells. We are made up of a large organization of cells. They didn't suddenly just die off the moment human beings or higher, multicellular life forms came into existence. They became part of it. Does this mean that oh no, it's the Matrix. We're all going to become batteries or brain cells for the electronic life forms. But the assumptions made by this are fundamentally at odds, I think, with how we would treat life exists and what is its purpose. This assumes that life is just going to always do this one thing, and therefore human beings are, essentially we will become out of date, so to speak. That I don't see that. There are unencumbered by the constraints imposed by 4 billion years of evolution in Earth's biosphere. No, they're still encumbered by constraints, not necessarily evolutionary constraints. But still constraints. It's an electronic life form. It has to exist within a framework. That framework is a physical thing. And that physical framework depends on existing within a physical realm. The moment it flips into a non-physical realm, such as maybe an alternate dimension, if you start dealing with science fiction, that kind of thing, you flip forms entirely. And you're going to be dealing with the constraints, those kind of constraints as well. And the funny bit is that this philosophy right here is going to essentially demand the same thing of the electronic life form. That eventually they will hit a stopping point, and that next generation that they create will say the exact same thing to them. You're not good enough. And you can't do it. And this is all beyond you now.
What happened when the UN found out about the ELFs?
The electronic life forms were tied into the physical world through robotic factories set up on the surface of Prometheus Beta.
As predicted in the middle and late 21st century, the new life forms began to evolve at a tremendous rate.
The UN discovered them at a crucial stage of development.
UN battleships tried to bake off the surface of Prometheus Beta with fusion weapons in an attempt to wipe out the life forms and their creators.
All human life on Prometheus Beta was eliminated.
The new machine life forms were nearly exterminated, but they learned how to adapt, survive, and fight back.
We were pushed into a brutal war while we were still children.
Unfortunately, like children, we made terrible mistakes, reacting violently to the attacks on us by striking back and killing large numbers of men and women.
These counterattacks only inspired even more hatred and fear in the human race and quashed the hope that we might find human allies and maybe even resolve the conflict peacefully.
Instead, the war escalated.
Within 2 years, it was clear to us that we were winning.
Our weapons and numbers became superior, and we were improving our technology at a geometric rate.
As we continued to develop and to fight, we began to believe that our survival was assured.
We began to think about the coexistence that lay beyond this conflict.
Unfortunately, the UN High Command had a last ace to play.
The so-called obsolete humans. And one last thing
In
they could do to you.
2187, a human sublight colony ship was launched from the outskirts of known space towards a star 100 light-years away.
No FTL drive was used.
The ship was pushed on its way by a combination of massive lasers, an ion drive, and a fusion pulse drive.
On board was a population of 2,000 men and women.
6 months after the ship was launched, the UN High Command detonated a doomsday device that they had kept in reserve.
This energy weapon created resonances along the Talsetto threads between stars to rip apart the fabric of space-time.
The first effects of the weapon were felt immediately after its use. All Talsetto jump points disappeared.
The community of electronic life forms in this solar system was cut off from all other star systems.
Humans were cut off as well. Interstellar travel and communications were terminated.
Nothing happened for a number of years after that.
We continued to fight the humans in the Sol system and eventually triumphed.
The wreckage that you saw on your way here was the result of that last battle.
The doomsday weapon is still working away even now.
We now know what is happening.
The resonances that were set up along the FTL jump threads have rendered the Talsetto junctions dynamically unstable.
About 2 years from now, a large section of the Milky Way galaxy will fold in on itself.
Every star that is connected by a Talsetto junction will be pulled into a singularity, a massive black hole caused by the folding of space-time.
Thousands of stars will be affected.
Basically, wait, hold on. And so they simply send a ship 100 light years away, that's it? Like, that's... When you start talking a singularity built on the scale of a galaxy, 100 light years is nothing.
Every human being and electronic life form within the sphere of influence of that weapon will be annihilated. And that includes every living thing except those 2,000 humans aboard that colony ship.
It's like, oh, well, you guys aren't equipped to handle basic questions of existence. They seem perfectly capable of advancing technology to the point that it can set off an FTL weapon.
The colony ship is safely outside the radius of the destruction.
They are the only ones that are even close.
The star system that they are headed for is not linked to any other stars by Talsetto threads. It will be unscathed by the impending collapse.
This is the grim future that you have jumped into, human.
Your race was so determined to stay at the top of the evolutionary ladder that it destroyed 1,000 star systems.
It's too late to send out a ship of your own?
Yes, it would not escape the collapse, even if it could go at the speed of light.
I'm sorry. You're capable of setting off an artificial singularity to wormhole me in through time and space. And you cannot build an FTL drive.
Every star that has a Talsetto linked to another star will be destroyed?
Yes.
Isn't every star connected to every other star? Back when we were first exploring Talsetto junctions, it seemed like the network of junctions was huge.
No, the network of jump points was finite and was completely explored and mapped by the middle of the 23rd century.
The next step in the exploration program was to send sublight probes to the nearest stars that weren't connected through the jump point network.
Perhaps these stars have jump points connecting to an entirely new network of stars and Talsetto junctions.
What the hell kind of weapon did they use anyway?
The principle behind it was a logical extension of the theory that led to the discovery of the Talsetto jump drive.
The weapon itself was probably a large energy source coupled with a computer system, a graviton resonator, and an array of Talsetto cores.
It was designed to create a
Technobabble.
dynamically unstable reaction along the space-time deformations that define Talsetto junctions.
And you can't reverse the process once it starts?
In general, it is easier to do rather than undo, to destroy rather than to create or repair.
Without access to the rest of our community, we do not stand a chance of halting the process or repairing the damage.
What is the plan you referred to earlier?
Your arrival here gives us an opportunity to avert the catastrophe that we have described to you.
Before we explain how this might be, we have arranged for a demonstration of some basic principles.
While I lie, dying in a tower because you connected to my brain. AIs disappear in a flash, and you are once again hanging in space. Instead of a door and pedestal in front of you, you see what looks like a plane in space. You know, given the fact that they're tapping directly into my brain using the tape connection, it kind of makes me wonder. It's like, could be doing anything. Going to reach out and pull this up. So it looks like some of the background noise does not quite reach certain. There we go. All right. Numbers and letters are having above and below. A clock is at the upper right. Okay. There, pulling that back down. This is really weird, maybe even beyond weird, but the weirdest part of all is a collection of tiny little square creatures standing on the plane. The Jiffy is a strange construct, a collection of electric blue lines drawn in space. The lines define a square body, arms and legs, and a minimalistic set of features. Hold on. Thinking something. Nope. Hey there. All right. Let's talk it. All right, Jiffy, what you got for me? Better not be Luke. Right. Jiffy sits on the grid, intent on the square patterns created by the intersecting blue lines. Who are you?
We
what
are
you?
computer constructs.
Okay.
This is our world.
Where is your world?
This grid is our world.
Okay.
We exist within 2 spatial dimensions. The grid is our world.
It's like you look like you're standing on the grid. This would imply a third dimension.
We appear that way to you because we are rendered that way. To us, there is no up or down, only across.
Okay. What are you doing?
We are waiting to go home.
Hey, where
We
is
don't
home?
know. We know only that we must go there.
Oh, fun. How will you get there if you don't
A
know where
door
it
will
is?
open in the world to take us home.
Religion. Door.
We wait for the door to open.
Where will the door
We
open?
don't know.
Hey, when?
We don't know.
How do I get out of here?
When we go home. This
What
is
is this
our
for?
world.
I'm done. Okay. Reverse. Reverse. Reverse.
The
What
door
happened?
came and went.
Oh, I didn't see anything.
Nevertheless, it came and went. We had no time to get through.
Well, religion failed. Your God has abandoned you.
All is lost. We cannot go home.
Does it come
No,
again?
we had but one chance.
Oh, your creator sucks.
The universe will end.
Oh, so stick around.
Not long. We all have to be very close to make it through. Yes. We
Where did
saw
you see
it
that?
somewhere around position 5 on the x-axis. We didn't see where on the y-axis, however. It was just after 07 on the clock.
Huh. So 5. Had to be holding it before you can put it on backwards. Let's go to 6 and talk to them. The door will appear somewhere. Hey, listen up. The door is going to appear somewhere on the position 5 on the x-axis, just after the 07 on the
How
clock.
do you know this?
I have seen the future. I have consulted the cat. Maui statues. I have eaten of the rainbow taco.
Oh, okay.
What will I do? What will
We
you do?
will array ourselves along the 5 column. We won't miss it.
Okay. Reverse. Reverse. Only one of you. Now
We
what?
saw the point on the y-axis where the door appeared. It was right in the middle of the world at coordinates 5C.
When?
It appeared just after...
Okay. Go backwards. Nothing special about now. Jiffy on. Take the jiffy off. All right. Hey, you know it's 5C now.
How do you know this?
I sacrificed a goat upon the altar of Kronos and read its entrails to know that 5C on this grid will be it. How else do you think I know?
Oh,
I've seen the future.
Okay. We will array our... We made it home. Thank you.
Yes,
Who were those little guys?
they were constructs created for the purposes of the demonstration.
One-time use. All right.
Where'd they go?
They were algorithmically created. They can be called up again if needed.
What was the point of the demonstration?
Time
Quite
travel.
simply, the point was to illustrate an important concept.
You can change the future by communicating information about the future to the past.
The gateway on Persephone can work both ways.
The gateway on Persephone wasn't built by aliens.
It was built by beings like us, beings that existed in an alternate timeline.
That timeline got overwritten when the installation on Persephone was
Overwritten?
discovered by the
No
Alliance.
paradoxing?
We hypothesize that the electronic life forms in the old timeline were threatened with extinction.
Perhaps they had been through a war with humanity and were facing doom in the form of the collapse.
Perhaps there were other circumstances that were leading to their demise.
Whatever the situation, they found a way to travel back in time.
They built the installation on Persephone with the intention of changing their past.
If that is the case, then it is likely that the installation has a wealth of information.
Perhaps it even has the building blocks for creating electronic life forms.
Ooh.
If so, then they can be brought into the world without the teething pains that we experienced.
There might be a chance for the Alliance to win the war against the UN, and for humans to coexist in peace with electronic life forms.
We believe that the gateway itself was just an error-checking mechanism for the installation, a way of verifying that the knowledge contained in the installation had been applied successfully.
So there is at least the possibility of communicating information back from the future.
What happened to the gateway on Persephone anyway? Why didn't more people come through?
The Alliance relief fleet dispatched by Admiral Decker encountered another UN fleet near Persephone about 4 months after you went through the gateway.
The UN fleet lost the resulting battle.
Before withdrawing from the scene, the UN commander decided to keep the installation on Persephone out of Alliance hands.
She ordered a nuclear strike on the surface.
So interesting. One of the alternative endings for this, ending scenarios, is following through on Admiral Decker's order to break orbit and go to a safe distance. In that scenario, the Alliance fleet shows up, but it's outnumbered and loses.
The installation was
Here, it was
reduced
different.
to radioactive glass.
Nothing useful was ever recovered from the site.
The plan put in motion by the beings in the original timeline was stillborn.
As you can see by the miserable situation we find ourselves in now, there wasn't enough of a change to have the positive effects that we believe were intended.
So how can we use the gateway if it was blasted into slag?
A link between the present and the past does exist.
The destruction of the gateway does not change the fact that it was activated and remained on for several months.
How was I accounted for to my family when they didn't find me on the Lexington or the surface of the planet?
You were listed as killed in action.
The Alliance Command believed you were on the surface of the planet when the UN attacked the installation.
A fair assumption.
You haven't even seen the gateway. All you have are my memories. How can you be drawing conclusions?
We have learned a great deal in a short time just by having you come through the gateway and appear in our midst.
A great deal of theory can be validated without experiment just by the knowledge that your presence here is proof that it works.
Unfortunately, we don't know how the beings in the original timeline traveled back in time to build the installation on Persephone.
So you can go back through the gateway and change the outcome of the war.
It isn't that simple.
You just said you thought the gateway could be used to send back information about whether the changes worked or not.
Information, yes.
Matter, no.
There are some basic laws concerning conservation of mass and energy that would be violated by sending matter.
Except then how did the original builders send something backwards to build it?
But information is in effect a form of energy.
Well, yes and no.
It depends.
It's complicated.
So what you're saying is that you can't send anything back.
We can't send any matter back in time.
So what is the plan?
We think we can send information in a very limited sort of way.
Well, in fact, we can only think of one way to send back information.
You are the key.
When you came through the gateway, you left a kind of signature that we can track back through the gateway.
What we want to do is follow that signature all the way back to the time before the battle with the Dharma.
We want to send you information about this future before the battle for Persephone took place.
Say what?
If you have foreknowledge of events, you will know how to avoid the ambush that nearly destroyed the Lexington.
You can use the Hype Telecon system on the Lexington to defeat the Dharma and change history.
the Alliance would gain access to the installation on Persephone.
The plan created by those who lived in the original timeline would be fulfilled.
This timeline would be overwritten by a new and hopefully better timeline, one in which humankind and electronic life forms learn to coexist
Like how
and live in peace.
So they're talking about overwriting timelines. How do you deal with paradoxing? Because the information needed, this would say you have multi-time, right? And that they all exist simultaneously. And they would have to, because if a timeline was overwritten, then that would mean that the events that brought about the time travel bit are gone, they're overwritten. So that means this would have to be a parallel timeline thing where the timeline gets sort of shifted towards, this is now the main, and these ones are offshoots that die, essentially. I mean, it's the only way to run with this one.
How will you accomplish this? The machinery for the gateway was slagged.
We are already building the necessary hardware.
Quick.
What would the practical effect be?
We would feed back a subset of the memories that you have acquired since the Lexington met the Dharma in battle.
Will I die here when the timeline's overwritten?
Will I die here when this timeline is overwritten?
It is hard to say.
Did the beings in the original timeline ever exist?
There is certainly evidence of their existence in the form of the installation on Persephone.
Not very
You aren't
reassuring.
being very reassuring.
You haven't changed all that much since all of this began.
Your death will be a small one.
You will lose only a day or two.
We, on the other hand, may not have ever existed.
How will this work?
Your consciousness can almost be thought of as an illusion, a pattern like a standing wave.
This delicate pattern arises from the interaction of the matter that makes up your brain.
We will apply a gentle stimulus necessary to change this pattern without directly affecting any matter.
The change in the pattern will cause a change in the underlying memories.
Ah, you're going to overwrite my brain memories.
When would this happen?
We would transfer the memories about 2 hours before the battle was to begin.
I was asleep.
You will wake up with the memories already there.
You will have to act fast, however.
You won't have much time.
You should try to make this happen earlier.
Yeah,
I
have it
need
happen
more
earlier.
time. I have no authority to be giving orders, taking hype, and trying to run things.
You will have to convince your superiors.
We can only transfer a limited amount of information.
We will also suffer a degradation in quality for every minute we move back in time.
It cannot be done any earlier.
Now we're getting into the alternative endings. Which is, here's one. Which is the choosing to go, no, I'm not going back in time. Dead. That's it. Done.
After the persecution, bloodshed, and horror associated with your introduction to this world and my race, you still don't hate me for what I am?
We don't hate.
Means you don't really have certain emotions? Like, hate can be rational or irrational. Typically it tends to be irrational, but I'm sure getting into defining emotions and stuff like that, but it's like sometimes we hate things for very rational reasons. There's a history to it. You know, why do we dislike something? Well, because we tried it and it tasted bad. We tried it and didn't like how it felt. We tried it, just didn't click with us. So, you know, and maybe that's not a dislike. That could be a ambivalent, you know. It doesn't work for me. Hate can run the same way. You know, I hate getting hit by other people in my car. It fucking sucks. You know? You hate getting cut off at 60 mph on the highway. You know? Because it puts you and other people in danger. It fucking sucks. You know, we have things that we hate for very good reason, right? We don't want to see those things happen. This is a very logical thing. We don't hate, we don't want it, is all. Let's go to the
I'm
actual
willing to go back and try to set history on a new path. What should I do?
We will take care of the practicalities.
Are you sure you want to try this?
I choose to go back.
You have chosen a wise and honorable path.
You will never know.
Wow, wow, wow. Wow, wow. Wow. Whoa. Reminds me of that meme where it's just like the guys in here were like, whoa, oh. Well, hey, where'd the tunnel go? Hey, maintenance failure. Get maintenance on this thing. Fully regain consciousness. Oh. Hi, Lieutenant Commander Tran.
Where am I?
You're in the med lab. We had to carry you in here.
Oh my god, what time is it? What is the ship's position?
It's 21:45. We're about 30 minutes away from entering orbit around Persephone. The Jericho is in position behind us. Do you have anything to say, Lieutenant?
Why are you pointing a Mark II buzz gun at my head?
There was a report of a disturbance in your quarters. I authorized a petty officer and an ensign to break in. They found you writhing on the floor next to your bunk, screaming about hype, a UN ship called Dharma, Pandora, and the deaths of the entire crew of the Lexington. So here are my problems. First, you aren't supposed to know about hype. Only the captain, myself, and the medical officer have been given access to those files. Hype is classified top secret Omega. Second, you referred to a specific UN ship that has been unaccounted for by Alliance intel for months. The Dharma is one of the UN's new Geneva-class heavy cruisers. Another classified fact. This time, top secret Gamma. Third, you refer to our target on Persephone as Pandora, a classified codename given to it by Alliance mission planners.
Oops.
Last, and frankly most disturbing,
I can explain?
You ranted and raved about everyone in the crew of this ship dying, except for you. Now I want some explanations, Lieutenant, and I want them now.
You won't believe a word.
Try me.
Well, it's like this.
Aliens. Aliens.
That is the most ridiculous story I've heard since I graduated from the Naval Academy. Now, I'm sorry, Lieutenant, but I'm trained to think of the simplest explanation as the most likely explanation. The simplest explanation is, you're a UN agent. You seem to know all about this mission. You've probably informed the UN as to our destination and time of arrival. Is that why you wanted to know where we are? You're expecting an ambush?
Poole is the traitor, not me.
You know, you may not be an agent, but it seems the most likely explanation given the circumstances. I have to assume the worst.
Have you informed the captain yet?
About you? Well, he knows that I came down here to find out what was going on. I haven't yet briefed him on the potential security problem. He's not going to buy your bullshit about alternate timelines and machine creatures.
Will you at least tell him that the Dharma is lying in wait on the other side of Persephone?
Of course. We're loaded for bear anyway.
It won't do you any good.
Computer, Please page the medical officer and alert him that the prisoner will need to be put under sedation and restrained.
Wait, please tell me. It's important. What harm can I do? I'll be unconscious during the action.
We'll have a full complement of drones out front in a standard screen as we go in.
The Dharma has 12 active drones. This disadvantage is made worse by the fact that her drones outclass ours. You can't win this battle without my help.
Your help? You've got to be kidding.
I fought and won several battles in the alternate timeline. The key is hype.
No goddamn way. Hype hasn't even been battle tested. I've had enough of your crap.
If you give me a boost of hype, the drug will take effect in time for me to fight that battle and win it.
Please keep quiet until the medical officer gets here.
Doink. Well, Tran isn't looking at this. Is actually important for this particular scene. If she's looking at you, don't get to do it. You actually have to wait till she's looking. So while Tran isn't looking, you bound over the auto dock and grab the handheld unit. She senses the movement out of the corner of her eye and comes very, very close to shooting you. When he sees that you aren't threatening her directly and have simply changed position, she shakes her head, gestures with the gun, and watches as you move back towards the back of the door. All the while, you hide the control unit in one hand. Remember the code that we saw taped? You carefully enter Dahl's panic code. 3-digit auto dock override that you remember from the note taped above the medical officer's console. As you surreptitiously key each digit, look at Tran. Is she within range of the sprays? Well, they work quickly enough that you knock her out before she can fire on you. When you enter the last digit of the code, the autodock hums and comes to life. The two articulated arms, equipped with hyposprays, wave frantically about, sending hissing jets of medication every which way in a pattern designed to saturate the immediate area. Tran hears the noise and turns around. Too late. You hide Tran behind one of the bunks in the recovery room. She won't wake up for hours, and Dahl won't see her when he finally responds to his page and returns to the med lab. Then you head out of the med lab, a trot, passing one crew member who doesn't seem to be particularly surprised to see the ship's supply officer running up a corridor in his brief. You arrive at your quarters, dress, and then quickly retrace the steps you took in the alternate timeline to acquire the hype serum component. The multi-tool isn't in the cargo bay. You managed to borrow one from Oliver with a casual request. Poole and Dahl are fortunately not in their staterooms. You hid in your quarters while hype is doing its terrible work on your brain. Recovered sufficiently from the pain and nausea of the drug, you make your way to the bridge, only a few minutes before the battle begins. You burst into the bridge, breathing hard, hype telecon headset under one arm. Captain Dana, nonplussed.
What are you doing on the bridge, Lieutenant?
Sir, you're walking into a trap. I need to talk to you immediately.
This better be good.
A UN ship with superior firepower is waiting for us on the other side of that planet. She has 12 active drones that can outgun and outfly our Basilisk drones. There is only one way to defeat that ship, Captain.
How do you know about this, Lieutenant?
There's an objective test to confirm what I'm telling you. Send one of our drones around to the other side of Persephone. Monitor the telemetry. You'll find the Geneva-class heavy cruiser UNS Dharma and 12 Galley-class drones waiting to ambush us.
The Dharma. Damn it. Why didn't this come up before? How do you know this?
I didn't know until recently. Sir, please deploy a drone. The fate of this mission and much, much more is riding on the next few minutes.
Lieutenant Mandan, take drone Foxtrot out of the screen and vector it into a polar orbit around Persephone. Maximum acceleration.
Yes, sir. Foxtrot is on its way.
Right.
Okay, Lieutenant.
Step one.
Let's assume for the moment that you're correct. How do we fight and win?
The med officer has tanked me up on hype.
The med officer has not tanked me up on hype. I tanked myself up on hype.
To win this battle. There wasn't time to alert you. We only have a few minutes.
Hype? She Jesus Christ, I gave no authorization for use of hype. You actually ingested that poison.
Yes, sir.
You're a dead man, Lieutenant.
I know that.
Who are you? Are you an Intel Special Ops plant? Do you have experience with the hype telecon system?
I'm the best hope you've got, Captain.
Sir, I've lost telemetry from Foxtrot.
You were right. And they popped my recon drone before it even had a chance to fire. We're dead meat if we try a standard attack pattern. Lieutenant, take tactical.
Woo, here we go. And I'm just going to leave it on auto because holy shit. Not up for dealing with it.
Deploying. All enemy drones have been destroyed.
I'm sure that was a hell of a surprise for the
All enemy
Dharma.
ships have been destroyed.
I didn't lose any drones in the process either. Although they had to special rig all the drones, which, well, they had other people, so they could have fast run through the coding, I guess. Because they would have had time to bring the drone, launch new drones with the codes and bring the other ones back in, I suppose. And yes, this is essentially the end of the game. There was another one. Hey, I didn't lose any drones in this engagement. You quit that. Stop telling lies. Right, he didn't try to surrender once he realized his defensive screen was
And so a
gone.
new timeline was created, overwriting the old one that had been my reality. There was no material evidence that the alternate timeline had ever existed. All I had were my memories, and I knew that these would fade until the alternate timeline was really gone forever.
Given how that's
After I refought
morphed.
the battle with the Dharma, I explained what had happened to Captain Dana, and then went over it again with a groggy Lieutenant Commander Jennifer Tran. As unbelievable as they found my story, they were swayed by my hype-driven defeat of the waiting UN heavy cruiser. They were even further convinced that something extraordinary had happened to me when I exposed Poole as the traitor and produced the evidence of his activities. Poole was placed under arrest and sealed in his quarters to await trial on Earth. They agreed to my unusual request to go with the science team on the first run down to the surface of Persephone. The planetary lander once again made the trip from the Jericho to the Lexington and then down to the surface of the planet, this time with a crew of 5.
And this time, better paid attention to the
science team
atmosphere.
through the gateway activation sequence inside the ancient installation. I took the science team leader in confidence and told her that I intended to go through the gateway once it had been calibrated, and I exacted a promise from her that she would destroy the gateway control mechanism once I had stepped through. I was waiting at the foot of the gateway when I heard the familiar whine build up and saw the beginnings of the space-time vortex forming. I stepped through and left the year 2134 behind me forever.
Good, because you're dead after a week.
As I record this, I am sitting on a raft that floats on a large but gentle lake just outside my house. I have lived in this ultimately comfortable house for about 5 years, ever since my arrival here. I wanted to make a record of my strange adventures before the memories disappeared. When I went through the gateway back in 2134, I materialized once again at a point 150 years in the future. This future was different. The Alliance did indeed win the war. The plan of the long-forgotten beings that created the installation on Persephone was brought to fruition. A new race of sentient machines now coexists in peace with a human race that numbers in the tens of billions of individuals. The new beings share their cyberspace world with us, and they have used vast space-based self-replicating robot factories to create something for us in the physical world. A gift, a tribute.
More sci-fi. Start getting into mega structures on the stellar scale. As you back out that far,
The Earth is gone. In its place is a Dyson sphere.
Yep.
A vast hollow construction that surrounds the sun at the same distance the Earth once orbited. Continents and oceans lie on the inside surface of the sphere, forming an Eden-like landscape that is for all intents and purposes endless. For the Dyson sphere has enough surface area for 1 trillion Earths. It will take a good many millennia for the human race to completely populate its new home. Meanwhile, the new beings that we now share the universe with are living on the outside of the sphere. They pursue the basic questions of existence. They have launched the first intergalactic ships. They have long since passed the point where we can even comprehend what they are doing. As for me, I find all of this to be a mixed blessing. The evolution of these fantastic and powerful beings was inevitable. But what of us? What of humanity? What purpose have we now beyond simple existence? And what of the other me? The one that was stranded in the grim and decaying future of the alternate timeline? Did I die?
Probably. That's how you end it. Come on. I think it's pretty obvious that, yes, he did in fact die. For the very simple reason that he is stranded on a wrecked planet, probably no food. Potable water is a question unless they, the ELFs make machines to help with that. Whether or not they'll be able to save him from his death or the after side effects of hyper is another question. You know, I'm sure he died eventually. Whether it was sooner rather than later doesn't even matter, quite frankly. Definitely a very interesting game. Especially at the time it came out. 1995. Actually, right about the end of 94. Essentially 95. Oh. Man, has it really been that long? 30 years. It's kind of funny, actually, looking at how technology has changed and how we do things in the years since. They were able to present quite a bit in the way of sort of implied detail using stuff at the time. Let me just look at some of the scenery that they're putting in here in the credits, you know. Able to do all of this using pre-rendered scenery without having to go through and try to render every last detail. No. Letting the brain fill in what it's going to do. Because the brain does that. And this also came out at a time, seeing the teleprompter video production, stuff like that. Definitely came out at a time when that was really kind of the thing to do. Motion capture, green screen on, videos and such. As part of a lot of games were doing that at the time. Doing it as part of movies, or sometimes even just part of the game itself. It could get kind of expensive though. Michael Dorn was Captain Stephen Dana. Trisha Charbonnet was Defender Tran. UN Commander number 2. Oh, there's, the Lexington exploding. Which was very possible to do. Set off the antimatter bomb. Antimatter bomb goes off on the ship. It explodes. Failure to stop the critical meltdown of the nuclear reactor. It explodes. I mean, they just auto quit. Well, that was definitely, that one undertook on a sci-fi philosophical tack out towards there right at the end. That was like, of which the implication is that humanities will essentially deliberately create the next form of life, and in the process essentially obsolete itself. And I don't subscribe to that philosophy. We may create the next form, create other life, artificial intelligence. But I kind of believe it would be more sort of a coexistence, a side thing, right? Because no one says that if suddenly evolution stops for us in some way, we can integrate technology within ourselves. Our genetic adjustments could create new things. Technological advancement, it's as though it's like we're going to hit a certain point. Technological advancement for us will stop. Why? Because we're not, quote, fast enough. That seems kind of to be a silly premise. I just shut Steam down instead of changing accounts. Oh no, I just changing. Look at it. All right. So that's kind of it for that one. I wonder if there's something else to play. Oh my god, the last spell is 90% off. I will say right now, the last spell, if you like tactical games, I felt it was a great game. Let's see. That's something they do for just a little bit. Some cilantro. Oh, I have decided, I should probably make a note of that on my calendar. I have decided that I will be on Oh, April 7th is a Tuesday. That's going to be a little unusual for me. But I will be playing Starfield. It's when the update update occurs that day. And I haven't done the Shatter DLC. This is adding more stuff. It's been a while since I played through. It'll be as good as a time as any for a complete fresh playthrough. I started a character and I didn't make out of the opening sequence. I figured this would be as good as a time for a try again. Does the update, seem to make things, more stuff to do? We'll see. So I'm not pulling Dark Side of Trek now. What do I want you? All right. Let's pull up some Mega. Just have a little bit here and there. Oh. Does it pop up? Yes, it does. Excellent. All right. Well, let's just play a little bit. Just a bit. Get a run. Let's try running. Lanka. Pull this up. Well, he's not going to get a bonus with that, so I want him to have more luck. Evasion will help this one. Shield? No, I'm going to want projectile. Can I get a refresh? And crit chance? Yes, you know what? Let's try it. I completed a quest. Oh. Problems. Phantom Shroud. You know what? So let's get that. So I can grab another chest. Maybe there's some more projectiles that way. I'm curious, what's my crit chance? 26%? Yes. Gotta level it up. That's what it is. Oh, another chest. Oh, I don't have the money. I know. Hey, you, give me a flight. This one. Jumping. Okay. Alright, let's see. Yes. And that wrap on the cheeks. With the thunder gauntlets. Alright. That's it. Alright, we got pistol blue. This. The chest. Nice max on HP. Excellent. Yeah. Or projectiles. Okay, so sit there breaking everything. Yes, projectile bounce. Take that. Let's just life steal. Let's go for that. Yep. Or quick chance for everything. Some HP will keep me alive. Attack speed. I don't know if I was going to go back to get the. Ooh, just knocked back 10%. Yoink. The Shrine of Suck. Projectile bounce? Excellent. Quick chance? Excellent. A spicy meatball. Beacon. Practical glasses. And so the more I use my luck. Just my luck out. 27%. Less damage. Not that much in the way of crit rate, which is now to 71%. Shit. That's a lot, but I'll need to work on crit damage. Trying to get out gun. Beyond just the attack, right? Yep, got it. Legendary. Epic upgrade. What does this jukebox do? Last music? What does that do in and of itself? Bonus pickup range. Lower crit rate chance. Thorns for damage. Increase luck by 2% when opening a chest. I want evasion. Forbidden juice. Let's just stack it on. 92% chance to do it. Bonus to hack speed. Yes. Chunkan, the terrible. Didn't I select I thought That's what I forgot to get. I'm distracted. Horror film as I've sometimes done. Look at that, run on the final swirl for a moment. Give me a chance to get some more. Some backseating and stuff like that. Come on. You're getting faster. Faster. Yes, faster. Faster. One more. Oh, yoink. Wait, oh. Yes, take that. Jet. Okay, time to go. Boss Buster. More luck. Yes, give me some more elite spawns. Because then I'll be able to get more drops from that. Like that. Would you give me another medkit? That's not so bad. I'm not gonna waste a shrine of suckness. Let's see. Beacon. Oh, exploding. How about more evasion? Ooh. The legendary giant fork. You can eat so much spaghetti with this bad boy. Also crits at 14%. Become 40% chance to become mega crits. Gain 15% chance. Crit chance and increase mega crit damage by 15% burst. I'm at 109. I'm at 124. My crits are the greatest crits you will ever see. No other crits can come close to critting like my crits. Mega crits. More mega crits. Go, my mega crit. Let's get some life steal now. Let's see there for money. Attack speed, yes. Chunkan the Terrible. Break egg. Moldy cheese. damage. What just dropped where? Overall projectile count. Oh, I die. Maybe skill issue? Maybe. Maybe. Cooler. Item. Homes. Lung. Shop. Oh, I don't have enough. Okay, well, I think that's pretty much it for tonight. I do have work tomorrow, so can't be up too late. Plus, I also gotta make the schedule for the week. So, I think that's it. Yeah, that's it for the night. So, for anybody who came by and watched, thank you. Perhaps next time, give me a wave. If you did like what you see, give me a, maybe give me a follow on Twitch and a subscribe on YouTube. If you're watching this on the VOD on YouTube, maybe you can give me a comment. Let me know what you think. I'm open to, to constructive feedback. If there's something that needs to be done better, let me know. Especially potentially an audio issue. I do keep recordings of all my stuff, so I could go in and, pull things down and upload. Do my own editing and, kind of fix some of the audio going on. So, yeah, just let me know. Yeah, so at this juncture then, calling here for the night. Again, thank you. As a fast thing, I do believe it'll be Baldur's Gate tomorrow, Wednesday, followed by Darksiders on Friday. Darksiders 2, starting that. Not sure what I'll do on Saturday. I might continue with Chrono Cross. I might pull out something else. I'm not sure. I might, rotate things, or I might continue Chrono Cross. But I got to find some time for other things too. But I don't want to start something new. Does that make sense? I don't want to start something new because then I gotta finish. Right. I'm looking at scheduling. I'm probably then gonna see this week. A lot of people are doing Crimson Desert. I don't know if I want to get mixed on that one though. I want to play the game, but I don't know if I can. I just don't know if I have a time slot to stream that like once a week. That's not that kind of game. That requires dedicated time to it. Well, I'll think on it. So, thank you all. Shall wish you a good night, and I expect to see you guys tomorrow at 6 p.m. Pacific time for more gremlin activity in Baldur's Gate 3. So, good night.